So I always get asked this question, how to start a successful YouTube channel. And it's going to really depend on a lot of factors. It's going to depend on, first of all, who you ask, because the evidence you hear back is going to be completely anecdotal. I can only really tell you how I did it, but nowadays there are literally thousands, there's actually tens of thousands of YouTube channels bigger than my main YouTube channel, which has 1.4 million subscribers. I mean, YouTube is such a huge platform now, and there's so many ways to be successful. I can only tell you from my personal experience, and depending on what you want to do, that will either work for you or it might not work for you. So take this all with a grain of salt. It depends on what you want to do. First of all, if you're watching me right now, then you might have an interest in history, flags, strategy games, video games in general, AI, battle simulations. I do a whole bunch of stuff. But I'm imagining you're coming from that realm. If not, maybe you just stumbled upon this video randomly. But that's kind of the type of videos that I do. I think the biggest piece of evidence that I can give, no matter what type of content you're trying to make, is consistency. Consistency is king. Maybe back in the day, it wasn't necessarily like this. I mean, I'm thinking way back in the day. We're talking like 2008, 2009. You could make just one banger YouTube video and have a channel like explode. And that still kind of exists today, but that's not how you find long-term success. Consistency is way more important. And it's kind of a little bit of both, because you do need consistency, and I'd say consistency is more important than one banger video, but you need consistency with moderately banger videos, if that makes any sense. You know, you kind of do your thing, you upload, and again, consistency could mean a whole lot of things. It depends on what type of content you're making. That could be daily content, that could be content once a week, that could be content multiple times a day. It really depends on what you want to do. I've done all those strategies. When I first started making YouTube videos, maybe like 2 or 3 years in, I was uploading 5 YouTube videos a day on my main channel. I was making a completely different type of content back then. That was YouTube Let's Plays, where I was uploading 5 videos a day. So it was obviously very easily. There was no, it was very easy to make. There was no edits that had to really happen. But it depends on what you want to do. Now I'm just doing daily content on my main channel. On this channel, I upload once a week. On my gaming channel, I upload like 3 times a week. Find a consistency that works for you and your own work life, and hit the consistency target and find ways to break through the mold. Because I always deliver this message to people first, is consistency, and work on that process of it. But once you get good at it, and once you get consistent at being consistent, you have to actually try to strive to make yourself different. You got to do the videos that nobody else is making. It doesn't matter the genre that you're, if you're focusing on history, for example, then you need to find, I don't want to say a topic that no one has covered before, because history, oftentimes you're covering things that multiple people have covered before, like World War II, but maybe come at those topics from a different perspective. That's one way to describe it. There are a lot of videos that I've done in the past where I've done those videos because no one ever did it before. My most watched video ever, I think it's still technically my most watched video ever, is I believe, the first person to make a mega campaign in one long video on YouTube. I was definitely I don't know, I think I was one of the first, but I was definitely the first to do it, or maybe the only person to do it from an AI perspective. I didn't play. I literally just watched the AI. And that video got like 5 million views. And part of the reason I remember why I did that was just because I'd never seen anyone do it before. And that's kind of what it's all about. Once you find that consistency, and once you kind of know your genre, and you know the other type of videos in your trend, even if you're like touring the world, even if you're making like touristy videos, find something that no one's ever done before. Do a video that you would want to watch that isn't on YouTube. Things like that are really what separate you. You have to separate. I know that in a way, YouTube is a big game about like kind of following trends, and following trends is like a nice way of copying other people, whether it's YouTube, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Instagram Reels, all those platforms. It's kind of just people copying each other by putting their own little twist on it. But and that is a big way to get big still on TikTok. But don't underestimate being somebody that tries to push the envelope and do something new and be that sort of like contrarian. Because when you do that and the video does take off, well, now you have this whole new genre. I mean, that's really I've had so many different aspects of my history here on YouTube, like different eras. I have consistent content now, but it's because nobody really ever did the videos that I started doing like 2 or 3 years ago, which is why I think I found success. In the very beginning of YouTube, this is a funny topic. I think the only reason why I was able to like make a name for myself, which the first 1,000 subscribers is going to be the most difficult, and the first 100,000 subscribers is going to be the most difficult. But the only way I really think I got the ball rolling was because back in the day, I would make Let's Plays, but I would throw my face in front of the video before it started playing. So like everyone was just kind of jumping into their Let's Play, whether it was like a Minecraft Let's Play or a Terraria Let's Play. You know, they would just film the gameplay. You would hear their audio. The one difference that I did is I did like a 30-second interview with like a little black background, and I would just talk to the camera about what was happening. And that little element, I guarantee, and I've even had other YouTubers tell me this. They straight up was just like, honestly, that little thing was the biggest thing that separated me. And I didn't know that at the time. Now it's super obvious to me that was the thing that separated me. That's the reason why I was able to get somewhat of a following, going from 0 subscribers to 1,000. It was just because of that little small difference that helped me, I think it helped connect the audience more. We're talking like so long ago though, that concept is such a simple thing that I wouldn't even like worry about that now. Like showing your face is a very obvious thing to do now that everyone can do. But back in 2013, that was a big difference maker. So it was easier for people to remember my face. It was easier to see, oh, this is that channel that does that whole thing. And that was just kind of the really small difference. On a side note, if you want to be a creator, because people are always asking me this question, if you want to be a YouTube creator, you got to make shorts and TikToks, and you got to play that game. I'm not a big fan of that game. I do make shorts and TikToks and Reels and things like that. I'm not passionate about that stuff. I don't like that stuff. I am always going to be a YouTuber in my head. But if you're trying to make something new for yourself, you have to play the shorts game. YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels, upload to Twitter. You got to do that first because that's the way you really are going to find new eyes. YouTube is extremely difficult to find new eyes. There's such a huge bar to entry on YouTube. You got to understand SEO. You got to understand SEO, search engine optimization. You got to kind of understand how the algorithm works. You have to understand how to edit. Where TikTok, you don't even know how to edit. I mean, TikTok has made it so easy for anyone to edit their videos. And that's part of the reason why, there's just this massive bar to even enter the YouTube space. You need to know how to make thumbnails. That's a huge one. If you don't know how to make thumbnails, then what are you even doing? You know what I mean? You have to practice making thumbnails all the time because you could dedicate, I'm sure if you're watching this video, then maybe you've watched other videos of YouTubers talking about this subject. And I think I've watched Mr. Beast even talk about this subject, but it doesn't matter if you made a video and you spent $1 million on that video. If the thumbnail sucks, then you just wasted all that time and all that money because no one's going to see the video in the first place. The thumbnail, I'm going to say it right now, is the most important thing. That thumbnail is more important than the video itself because if people don't look at the thumbnail and they don't click on that thumbnail, then no one's even going to watch the video in the first place. So you got to get your thumbnails down. So while you're learning the different aspects to YouTube, and maybe, I don't know if maybe people want to just be TikTok people nowadays. I wouldn't recommend that. Just want to say, I wouldn't recommend being a TikTok influencer or a YouTube Shorts influencer. I mean, you can, but I would have my main goal to still make long form content, because that's going to be how you have the longest career, I think. Because at any moment, TikTok can shift around an algorithm and just completely kill you. YouTube is somewhat of the same way, but if you do it for long enough like I have, then you will kind of carve out your own audience. And even when algorithm shifts happen, you'll still have the baseline audience there. So YouTube, even though YouTube is very algorithmly based now compared to how it was 10 years ago, you'll still retain an audience even when shifts in the demographics happen and shifts in the YouTube space happen. TikTok is scary because, people are big and then it just kind of goes away. But play the shorts game first. Make your TikToks, make your YouTube shorts, make your Instagram reels. In the background, be learning how the algorithm on YouTube works for long form videos. Learn how to edit, learn how to make thumbnails. And again, that's also why consistency is key. I'm going to reference something that, because I've given a lot of advice to people over the years, because I've done this for so long, I'm going to make a reference to what someone has told me recently, like a big revelation, is just upload the video. Like, stop. Because now I'm afraid, because I put so much emphasis on the thumbnail. Even if your thumbnail sucks, just upload the video. Just do it. Unfortunately, the way the world works nowadays, at least online, is you cannot be a perfectionist. It's not going to work. You're never going to make it if you're a perfectionist. The people that just keep things in their drafts, the people that are too busy focusing on one video for way too long, stop. If you're a perfectionist, you got to get rid of it. And I guess I kind of was in the very beginning. There was so many things I can think back about. Like, I would redo a whole video if I didn't like the way a certain edit was made, or a certain way I would deliver certain lines. Like, it was ridiculous. And it's like, I had to learn to stop being a perfectionist and just, boom, upload. Doesn't matter. Don't be embarrassed. You got to lose that sense of, it's hard when you're young, because I was like this when I was young, but you have to stop caring what people think. You just got to upload it. Don't be embarrassed. Just do it. That's the only way you're really going to learn, because, like I said, consistency is king. So though I made the comment about the thumbnail stuff, still upload, even if your thumbnail sucks. I don't want to say this, but even if you don't even have a thumbnail, really make sure that you practice your thumbnails. But if you don't want to make the thumbnail, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but just upload the video. Just upload the video. You can make the thumbnail later. Don't keep things in your backlog, because you have to just try, and you have to try every single week. So in a way, you have to have a certain personality to be able to do that, because it is hard to come out here every single day, and that's basically what I've been doing for years and years and years of my life. I don't think I have taken a week off of YouTube. Well, that's not true. I occasionally take a week off of YouTube, but I don't think I miss uploads for a week. I'll make sure that I work hard the week before I take like a week off of YouTube, so I still have uploads ready. You kind of have to do that, but there's definitely times I probably take off 1 week a year, but people don't notice it because I have things in my backlog. I try to work long enough so I schedule out videos, so while I'm gone, boom, there's still things kind of coming out. But the YouTube game is changing a lot. If you know a certain subject more than other people, upload it. I was just reviewing this graph, this infographics picture earlier this week, and it was showing all these different degrees and their correlation to like unemployment, like what degrees have the highest rate of unemployment. There's like art history, there's for some reason aerospace engineering, There's a bunch of it. History was one of them. Man, if you got your degree in a subject and you can't find a job in that field, make videos. Make videos. You're an expert in that field. You have a lot of interesting thoughts that I would be interested in learning about. And you can find a career talking about the things that you learned. I didn't do that necessarily because I didn't get my degree in history. I didn't even get a degree at all, but I was just interested in learning history. And now that's basically what I do is I teach it. So if you get like and it could be a degree in anything. If you can't find employment right now, make videos, teach people about the subject and teach people about the things that you learned. You're obviously passionate about it because, well, hopefully, it's not always true. Sometimes college can kind of destroy your passion a little bit, but you're obviously, I'm hoping you're still passionate about it. People will watch if you're passionate enough about a subject. And again, if you don't want to go through the learning curve of learning the long form YouTube, start with TikToks, start with shorts, drive traffic to your long form content. Don't forget about doing that. Luckily, there's a lot more companies nowadays that specialize in trying to get people that make shorts content to make long form videos. But I would try to learn that myself so you don't have to be too reliant on a company. But the company can teach you a lot. A company can teach you a lot, and maybe it is a good idea to work with a company, see what they do. Don't sign like a forever contract with them. Just, you have them work on a couple videos for you, see what they do, learn as much as you can, be a sponge, and then eventually take that information and, work for yourself. That's definitely a possibility. If you want to be a live streamer, I'm not going to be able to give you too much advice about that. I have had a part of my, again, I've been doing this for 11 years now. I have had an era of my life where I was live streaming for a little bit. I was not a big live streamer. I don't like live streaming. If things still remain the same, it's really the only, like the biggest of the big live streamers that really make good, consistent money. I wouldn't recommend the live streaming route because though I'm consistent, though I work every single weekend practically, you also have to do that with live streaming, but you also have to be on an hourly schedule. Live streaming is brutal. I don't know how those creators do it because, well, I guess if you're big enough, I mean, and again, the anecdotal evidence, like people are automatically going to think about the biggest of the big ones. They can kind of do whatever they want. Make sure you think about the dudes coming through the trenches right now. Coming through the trenches is what you got to think about. The people coming through the trenches are having to come on every single day from like 10 to 5. It's like a 9 to 5 job. It's honestly not worth it to me. Like I said, I work a pretty normal kind of 5 to 4 day a week schedule, but I can take days off. Whereas live streamers, they can kind of take days off, but not really at the same time. It's going to impact them way, way more. I wouldn't want that. I was very fortunate to, well, I guess live streamers can somewhat travel, but anyways, I'm not going to be able to give you too much advice about that. I would, of course, recommend you do live stream because maybe you will pick up an audience. It's funny, I had a passion for live streaming, but eventually I realized, this is going to cost this is going to be a lot of work, and I'm not going to see much of a revenue advantage from it, I guess is the best way to put it. YouTube is still going to provide the best bang for your buck if you think about it. So yeah, consistency is key. Do YouTube, learn the thumbnail strategies. Of course, use shorts because that's like the biggest thing right now. And don't forget to, I've heard of people getting really big on other platforms. I don't really know what Snapchat is all about, but I know I know there's content farms on Snapchat that is really big. But don't forget to, see what the new trends are. If you're a young person, then, which I'm assuming a lot of people are, then you're going to know more things than me when it comes to like the newer up and coming trends. So don't feel afraid to take those risks. Take those risks now while you're young because it's going to be really difficult when you get into your mid to late 20s, especially into your 30s. It gets harder and harder. So anyways, that's the advice that I would give you.